from an export perspective, if you recognise a target market, you've got to work out, how do I reach it? Who's operating in that space? What do they want to buy? And what is my route to that market? And that's where I think partnerships, relationships are kind of critical. So I'm going to take you through a few of my thoughts after a reasonable period of time. So I'm assuming none of you work in waste management conditions like this, but a lot of the work that I do, I'll send you the picture if you like, save taking a picture. But anyway, dump sites around the world, this is kind of my career for the last 20 years. And here I am working in Mali with a group of waste pickers. But ultimately, I run a large consultancy business that's worked all over the world over the last 20 years, helping set strategy, to identify funding priorities, to work on best practice for collections, to look at treatment infrastructure. And all of that is about UK best practice or European best practice. But is that transferable to a country that you're representing? Will it work in the Middle East? Will it work in Latin America? Could I do it in Mali, for example? So I won't bore you with the details of my company because it'll all be on the website, but ultimately we're a big multinational engineering and advisory business. And we're interested in taking what has been a 40, 50-year history in the UK and helping other countries, locations, regions and cities in particular to address those burgeoning problems of population growth, urbanisation, pollution, and increasing demands of a middle income, middle classes. So where are we heading in this interesting dynamic, and we'll bore you with this later. Just to prove though that we do operate internationally, and I'm not just making this up, these are just some of the countries that we're operating in currently. So we're bringing an international perspective to the work in China, or into Bangladesh, or into Vietnam. So ultimately, we have to learn how to operate in differing geographies, differing environments, differing climates, differing cultures. And we've done quite a bit of work with the UKTI over the years. So this is my 15th year of doing UKTI inward investment, and the report you'll see on your desks is something we did a couple of years ago with I2I, who run this event, and UKTI, looking at what the opportunities were coming into the UK. But equally, we've done international missions to various countries, Panama being one of the last ones that one of my colleagues went on. So we're used to looking at that two-way dialogue around opportunity, investment need, and priority demands. Some of the things we've done, well, we're working in countries that have got cheap energy, cheap landfill, cheap labour. How do you put a waste management system into a country where ultimately it's low priority, but the health, the public health dimension is so critical? Some of these countries are busy buying energy from waste solutions. Is that appropriate? Is that the right dynamic? Is that the right output? We help cities and governments to identify what is right and wrong, how to get the right deal, how to get the right technology, because ultimately we don't sell this. As a consultancy, I have no vested interest in any technology provider. So unlike my German and my Dutch and my Danish colleagues in consultancy, who also build and own shares in technology provision, I do none of that. I will help you get the right system, I will help you get the right technology, but I won't get a kickback because I've invested in one of these solutions. So we might take you in a strategy direction. We might investigate what's best practice for your collection infrastructure. We might consider your taxation policies or your employment opportunities, or do some life cycle assessment to work out what are your most polluting products and how do we capture them and ultimately recover value. Things we've been working on more recently, so we're in Riyadh putting a strategy together. Massive waste problem, huge opportunity for investment and recovery. We've been working in Johannesburg. This is Tim, one of my colleagues here. Tim's been working in Joburg, looking at major treatment infrastructure and investment opportunities, going from dump sites to state-of-the-art infrastructure. We've been looking at the Middle East more generally for UK waste companies thinking about investing in infrastructure. What's the competitive market look like? And we've been putting policies together for places like South Australia, where they want to invest and want to encourage innovation in technology, but they don't know how to set the policy agenda to ensure they get the right technology provision and not the wrong technology provision. And a recent project in Armenia on mining, very much a clean-up but also about the policy, the governance, the capability development, the capacity building. We want to leave a legacy, which is a system that will work without us when we're back in the UK or helping another country. So what do we export as a consultancy? Quite simply, experience. Tim and I, we've been around the block a little bit. We've got a few war wounds on the journey. We kind of know what's working and what's not. We can bring that insight to a new geography, a new city, a new location. Ultimately, we will respond to your need though. So do you want to clean up the environment? Do you want to drive recycling? Are you zero waste? Do you want job creation? All of those things we can help reflect on what's happening somewhere else. What lessons could we learn from what the UAE are doing now, or what's happening in Brazil, for example? So ultimately, we can bring insights. We can take you on a journey from hump it, lump it and dump it to something that's more innovative, more appropriate, has better data, has an institutional structure, you can report on it. But we think we can help you do this in super quick time. If you look at what's happened in the European Union, we've been on a 20-year journey. If you look at what's happening in Riyadh or South Africa, you could be doing it in 5 years. So if you want to quickly learn from what's happened in Europe, you can much more speedily avoid the pitfalls and get to your end solution, a system that works, a system that's appropriate, but one that doesn't have to have all of the learnings that we've experienced in the UK. So that brings me to local partnerships. Absolutely fundamental, because whatever Tim and I think about the world, however we see technology or investment or low-scale, cheap and cheerful collection, without understanding what happens locally, we might make bad decisions. We might give you the wrong advice. So we're thinking about desirability. There's us, there's partner, and there's partners. Now we might bring the left-hand column to the equation. We bring deep understanding. We bring best practice. We bring a multidisciplinary team that can deal with air quality, land use planning, infrastructure, financing, governance. But we need the second two columns to make it work. We need proper local appreciation. We need certain local skill sets, appropriate engineering, for example. We need stakeholder appreciation and engagement. We need the cultural insights, the language insights. We need the legacy aspects, what's worked and what hasn't. What can we learn from you in order that we get it right first time? So it's a very complicated market, but if you get it right, this was in Riyadh recently, we're working with local partners to ensure cheaper delivery, more appropriate delivery, upskilling of a workforce, sharing of best practice, cultural acceptance, because we're using people that are local to do local things. We're not simply importing staff and then exporting staff. We're leaving behind knowledge, education and capability. Without them, though, we wouldn't know where to source the waste. We wouldn't know how to segregate the waste to make it appropriate for the needs of the local community. So it's a two-way street. So how might we as a UK company think about finding your local partner? Well, anybody that's been on a dating website recently, Hannah, would know that you can go internet trawling looking for a partner, and they'll tell you how wonderful they are and good looking with a good sense of humour. But ultimately they'll be lying, because until you've met them and met them in a pub, in a bar, at an event, you won't really know whether their capabilities fit. So the way to do this is to talk to UKTI. Deborah's in the front of the room here. Talk to people that know. They're used to brokering relationships. Get into the country. Talk to maybe the ambassador, maybe the ambassador's team. Talk to people that are working in country about who's a good partner, who's working well, what do they bring to the party. Talk to your colleagues in the sector about what's working and what's not. And ultimately do some due diligence. Because if you pick the wrong partner, whatever it is you're exporting will fail. You need that reach, that insight, that understanding. And ultimately, you might not be monogamous when you start off. You're not going to put all your eggs in the one relationship basket. You're going to test a few partners out. You're going to want to work which one works best, Who brings me better insights? Who's got the best connections? Who can get me to the municipal decision makers quicker? And ultimately, you're going to be reviewing that relationship. Who's married in the room? Hands up. Who's been divorced in the room? Good. Who's thinking about getting divorced? Come on, be honest. Ultimately, relationships change. My needs and your needs won't always be the same. So be honest about what you want out of this relationship. But you've got to make a commitment. So ultimately, I might enter into a memorandum of understanding or some kind of partnership arrangement. We'll sign up to some agreed objectives. We might stipulate a period of time. We might say we're going to work on a specific project. But what we're ultimately going to do is agree to do something together that you can monitor, you can measure, and you can report back on. But ultimately, for all the will in the world, it's the getting on with it that's important. You won't know if your relationship works till you've been on a couple of dates. Yeah, so get out there and try it and see whether it's going to work for you. If it doesn't work, find a new partner. And you don't want to overcommit. You don't want to enter a long-term relationship until you know it's going to work. Are there things you can improve? Are there obvious cracks in your relationship? That early days where we thought it was going to be great, but suddenly they've started putting a markup on my services. Or actually, they claim to have good reach. They've not introduced me to a client in 2 years. I don't think I should be putting all of my effort into a relationship that's taking me nowhere. So be honest about what you want to get out of this honeymoon phase. And reevaluate, because you might end up happy ever after, but you might end up in the trash can. Because if it's not working, you're spending a lot of your time and effort for no return. This is a business decision. So make a business decision. Don't let your heart rule your mind. You like these people. They're nice to do business with. If they're not helping you reach your target, you've got to reevaluate your relationship. Are they committed to you, or are they playing the field? You know, have they got other international partners that they're putting more effort into? Maybe you're not their preferred partner. I don't like being anybody's second partner. I want to be in the relationship fully committed. So what about the good, the bad, and the ugly, for those of you that like a good Western? Well, here we are in the Philippines, a long relationship. We had some real intelligence about this project long before it started. But that was driven by a very strong local partner, or partners. Great relationship, great insight, great ability to network and bring together a core team of international expertise. You need to get the balance right though. No local municipal mayor wants UK PLC coming in and telling you how to do business. You need to have that balance of insight from international expertise, but local cultural appreciation. So we always look to partner to get that balance of insight right. But you can't be overly reliant on your local partner, because otherwise you don't know what's going on. You become too arm's length. You put too much trust in a relationship that you can't control. So there's balance here qualitatively and quantitatively. And ultimately, if my name is on the bottom of the report or the output, I need to be sure that the quality of the local partner is giving me what I expect from my international partners. So constantly talking to my partners. Some more good. We've been in Mumbai working with India. Again, 2 partners working with us. These partners were well connected at the senior level. They understood the politics. That's critical for us trying to circumnavigate what looks like a very British governance structure. Absolutely, when you look at it from here. When you get up close, it's a whole different convoluted world of politics. So people that can cut through the red tape, people that can shortcut your route to market, absolute gold dust. We invested in a regional office. We had local staff in our team. That gives you credibility. It's that investment in the local environment, the job creation, that's just as important as our intellect, our experience and our insight. The ugly. Ukraine. Too many organisations, too many partners, too short notice, no insight. There's a whole heap of pain coming here. Who's in control? Well, it wasn't us. We were the international experts coming in. International SOS research. That's a very off-putting hot pan gone past there. And ultimately, by coming in late, the partners weren't ours. We were working with new partners. We didn't have a relationship. So this is blind dating 101. You know, turn up and get on with it on day one. The chances are you're not going home together, you're not getting married, and you're not having children. That divorce is far more likely with that kind of pressure impact. So if we're going to get it right and we're going to walk off into the sunset in a happy new relationship with long-term business opportunities, what do we need? Where do we look? Do you need a partner? Some of you might want to go solo. Some of you may have a local business that you already own or run that gives you the insight. If not, a partner's critical. What do you want in your partner? Do you like a blonde? Do you like a brunette? Do they have to be shorter than you? Preferably they're single. But ultimately, what's going to make the perfect candidate? Somebody that's got complementary skill sets, somebody that's got local appreciation, language skills. That's what Tim and I want out of a local partner. We bring the technical, but we need reach and insight. Do you know where to look then? Have you spoken to UKTI? Have you talked to your colleagues? Have you been in country to one of the trade missions, one of the conferences, one of the congresses? Have you gone and kicked the tyres to see who's working on what? You can soon work out who the players are. They're pretty obvious. So once you've done your homework, your due diligence, test some of these partners out. You might speed date. You might get involved in a pilot project. You might bid a few jobs together. You'll soon work out whether their approach and your approach are complementary or not. Can you commit to each other for a year or 2 years of a single relationship? Set your objectives, set your KPIs, measure your performance, monitor, review and feedback, just like a marriage. None of us want to go to relationship counselling. You get there because you've not been honest with each other, you've not been sharing your insights and your feedback. Do it before you need somebody to broker your relationship, because the answer is that relationship's too broken to be saved. And if it's going to go toxic, get out early, find a new relationship, find a new partner and move on. This is business. This is not hearts and minds. This is being able to work commercially in a country where you're not based. You need to trust those partners. For more information, here we go. We're around. Tim, Hannah, myself. My stand's up there. Come and see us. Always happy to buy you a coffee. We've got a blog running at the moment, and more interestingly, we've got materials available on the desk. This is a market we're heavily invested into. We love international export, but more importantly, I love helping countries do things differently. So if we can share some of that insight, we'd be happy to do so.